Kyle. I'm here with CASBA, the California Straw Building Association, and these are some examples of straw bales in a wall system for a house. And typically the straw bales are installed in a house wall system, and then they get a layer of plaster on the exterior and plaster on the interior. In my home, I chose to do lime on the outside and clay plaster on the inside. And this is clay plaster. It's a mix of clay, sand, and chopped straw. And it gets blended together with some water and then troweled onto the straw bales. And it makes for a strong, easily repairable wall system.
So what's the three materials again?
In the order of appearance, it would be sand, clay, and then straw.
So mostly sand?
Mostly sand. So it's actually, if you want to think about it like this, it's actually concrete sand that we use. And instead of using Portland cement, so concrete, like we're all familiar with a sidewalk, all that is concrete sand and Portland cement. And the Portland cement goes in between the particles of rock and aggregate and sand, and Portland cement locks it together. This mix doesn't have any Portland cement. It just has clay that goes in between the sand and aggregate particles and locks it together when it dries.
Okay.
So it's an all-natural cement stucco, if you will.
And you say you use lime on the outside. Is that you mean lime like concrete lime or like
hydraulic lime, hydrated lime. So it's just because it sets harder than clay does, it doesn't rehydrate in the same way. So if you get wind-driven rain events, it can rehydrate the clay, whereas it doesn't do that exact process to lime.
So lime because it catalysts to the carbon material?
Yeah, lime actually has a chemical reaction. It air sets and it pulls, so when you wet mix lime and as it's drying, it pulls CO2, it pulls carbon out of the atmosphere and it sequesters it, hardens in the wall system. So it cures. Lime plaster fully cures. Clay plaster never cures. 20 years later, if you damage it, you can come back, pick up the broken piece, rehydrate the wall, and trowel it back in, make it look like it never happened. Clay plaster is infinitely repairable because it never fully cures. It goes hard, but it doesn't actually chemically change.
Yeah,
like lime plaster does.
But lime has to chemically change.
Yeah, so it's a chemical reaction. The lime is pulling carbon out of the air and hardening itself off.
So, and what's the mix of lime that you use to?
The lime is usually like 2 to 1 or 2.5 to 1 sand to lime. Hydrated type-fast lime.
So 2 sands, 1 lime.
Usually 2.5 sand, 2.5 sand, and then 1 part lime.
And then you do use any other materials in with it?
In that mix?
Yeah.
We use this other binder called metakaolin that actually makes the lime go off a little bit harder and quicker.
Metakaolin?
Called metakaolin, yeah.
And what is that?
It is a byproduct of ceramic and some other industrial industries. It's a natural product, but it's a kiln. It's a cooked kaolin product, and it acts as a pozzolan in a lime plaster. So it helps the chemical, turns a air set lime into a hydraulic lime, so it can actually set underwater like concrete does.
Okay. So this is a typical wall right here.
An example of bales on end between studs in a wall system. Yeah.
I don't want to get too far, so I can't.
This is traditional framing. You have a 24-inch wall space, and then you're putting a straw bale in between them vertically as insulation. So this system is called bales on end between studs.
So how far is the outside and inside wall? Does that all depend on you?
You could pretend that this was the inside wall, and the other side would be the exterior.
Yeah. So, and then you just put the cob. You put the cob on it.
Plaster, the earthen plaster on the interior, where it's not going to get wind-driven rain or anything like that.
But you could put the clay plaster on the outside, but
they do.
But then you might have to repair it every year.
No, well, they say straw bale homes, like any house, really benefits from having good boots, a good foundation, good jacket from beating the plaster, and a good hat. So like a nice hat to keep the rain off your head.
Okay.
So if you have big eaves, that's really popular with straw bales, 3-foot overhangs, so that wind-driven rain doesn't hit your walls. Then you can get away with clay plaster if you're in a protected climate.
So you have a good boost, like a concrete foundation or something?
Yeah, yep. Ideally. Yeah, so it's really fire resistant because the bales are compressed.
Right, the oxygen can't get in.
Exactly. So there's plaster on both sides, and the bales themselves are compressed. So it's like trying to start a phone book in a vise on fire.
Right, exactly.
So
Right, the pressure and it will enough oxygen.
deck, you're like, sure, paper's flammable, but put a phone book in a vise and try starting on fire. You know?
You're
Not
like, I
gonna
like
go.
that. Okay, yeah, I like that. I like that.
Yeah, because the hay bales are actually
Straw
like.
bales, actually, there's a big difference between straw and hay.
Okay.
So this is the byproduct of the wheat crops. So wheat, this would be wheat, but you know all the grains. Are
So is this a standard hay bale that you stand stood up?
no, so hay bales is usually like what's fed to animals. That's the top of the plant. There's grass, hay,
Yeah.
alfalfa, clover.
Alfalfa.
That's hay. This is straw. This is actually a byproduct of grains.
And are they the same?
Waste from the grain,
So
yeah.
that's like the same typical straw bale that you buy from
Yeah.
a feed supply store.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And you just stand it up like that to create
Yeah.
more.
Yeah.
So you're using all the stuff because that's good because then it's,
Yeah,
it's
so
something
it's
that otherwise would
It's an agricultural byproduct. You know, they used to burn it.
Right.
Stuff like
No,
that.
I remember
So
that.
now it's getting actually sequestered in a wall, so it's a
Which is
carbon
good.
sink.
It is a carbon sink too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm an
um,
ancient forest guy, so yeah, carbon
Oh, great.
sinks.
Yeah, that's what this
water, carbon. Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
And in theory, you could like cut the grass down and bale it yourself.
No, not grass, because grass has flat stalks, not hollow. These
Okay.
are all these pieces are hollow on the inside, so they're actually straws, and that's how you get the really good insulation, is because they're hollow tubes.
Oh, because
So
they have
full of
air.
Yeah, they have air inside of them, so they're not
So they're-
flat blades of grass. These are hollow reeds, if you want to think about it like that.
Okay, so especially so it's got to the straw is the best thing to use, not
Yeah, not hay. We don't want to use hay. So
We don't
hay's,
wanna
hay's for horses, straws for houses.
yeah.
That's what we say.
Yeah, and we don't want to use grass or any other material because straw is the best.
Yeah, straw's the best. Straw's where it's at.
Okay.
Yeah.
You want to? So he's going to show us how to plaster this demo wall right here.
I'm actually gonna put a little bit on this straw bale.
Okay, we're gonna put some on the. We'll show you on the straw. So you lift it up. You feed it in. Look at the magic. It's pretty hard to get going. You kind of do
It
it.
is, yeah. You want to give it a try?
Yeah.
Cool,
Because I saw our girl was trying to do this. It was like a little bit much to try to learn how to do that little flip up.
It
motion.
is. It's tricky.
It's a little tricky, but it can be done.
It can be done. So the little flip up is done like this. First you cut your pile like this. This is what you're gonna apply. This is the hawk. This is the trowel. You cut your pile like this. Then you do a curl. So it's not gonna come off here. It's pretty well stuck. So you curl it vertically at the same time as you're taking it off the hawk like this. So you're doing that. And then once you have it off the hawk on the trowel, kind of press it onto the wall. And you're really trying to push it into the straw bales.
All right. Anything else you want to say before we end the interview?
No, just that I live in a straw bale house. Straw bales are code approved. It's a happy, healthy home.
Okay.
Would either of you like to try putting some
Look, all the little women love it.